Hi guys, Brandon Garvin here. My wife and I, Jessica, lead a Crown Diamond team out of Kansas City, Kansas, and I have some information I'm really excited to share with you today. So, before I get into it, the topic is called the power of five. Before I get into it, kind of how I got here, this presentation, I have a background in marketing and strategy, and so when my wife started doing Young Living on a business side, I did what I think any normal and sane person would do, and I built like 30 spreadsheets trying to figure out how this thing would work. I know that's weird. But I think it really helped me. It's kind of my way of understanding. There's a little bit of like the green inside of me just kind of coming alive and wanting to understand how the comp worked, how this team could grow, and kind of like what I found was like truly just astonishing. It was this exponential growth factor. I'm really excited to share more about this today. So the power of five. So in our business, there are three key metrics we always follow. It's number one, first and foremost important, the percent of enrollers. So this is how many people on your team, how many members, so this excludes retail, how many members actively enrolled somebody the last month. This is what we're going to talk about today. This is by far the most impactful to your business. This is what helps you hit those big OGV, hit and maintain ranks. It is by far the biggest lever you can pull that I found, at least in the Young Living system in network marketing. Number two, member percent ER. You guys know what essential rewards are, but it's what changes this from a sales job to a recurring income, retire on the beach, sipping Mai Tais job. And then lastly, average PV per ordering member. This is probably the one I focus on the least, but what I still like to look at is what I found is with this number, so let me go back. This number just shows what the average order size for the people that place an order in the past month. And what I found is you see this number tend to go up and down with the seasonality of like the retail cycle, right? So in the US, November's a big sales month. Same for Young Living, right? This is because it closely follows retail. But it also is a good indicator as to like how many builders do you have on the team? How bought in is your team to the process? Are people placing the bare minimum 100 PV order, or are they a product of the product? Are they trying supplements? I'm by far like Young Living supplements. Like we do not talk about enough. They're amazing. Like, are they doing the makeup, thieves, like Ningxia? Like what part of the business? How invested are they personally into our cause here? So here's some target metrics that we hold for ourselves. So these are in no way imposed upon you, but it's our standard that we try and grade ourselves on. Percent of enrollers, our target is 5%. I want to share with you why that number is so magical here in a second, but it's really focused on first and foremost duplication. If I could pick between having one person that can enroll 100 people a month or 100 people that can enroll one a month, I will take the latter every single time. That's how this thing just gets exponential. It's duplication. Essential rewards, 40%. We've seen this now ticking up above. I should probably at some point elevate this to get a new goal, but 40 to 45% is kind of where we hover. And then lastly, average PV per ordering member. We target 140. We've seen teams far above this, some below, but this is kind of a goal. And again, this changes the most month to month. So why 5%? Let me show you. Figured it out, right? Got it. I can walk away. Now this chart's kind of confusing, but I like it just because it shows that big hockey stick shape that illustrates how much faster one team grows than another. In this example, and I'll show you, don't zoom in, don't squint. I will zoom in and show you what this all means, kind of how it pans out. But what I think this does is it illustrates the difference between a team that has a 5% enroller rate, a team that has a 3% enroller rate, and a team that's a 1% enroller rate. Everything else is even. In this model, they have a 40% ER rate, and they have 140 average order size, and each member that's enrolling is enrolling 3. I picked that for two reasons. One, it's our average, so that was kind of a no-brainer. And two, it kind of felt like in line when Young Living was doing the Help 5 initiative. The idea you could enroll 3, out of those 3, if you get 2 on ER, you get to Help 5. It just felt in line with that, and again, it was kind of our average. So let me show you what that means, what that does when you zoom in a little bit. All right, so the x-axis here is months, y is OGV. So everything's the same. The green team is 5% enroller rate, blue is 3, gray team is 1%. So you can see month 1, I started them out at a senior star level just so you can kind of see this happen a little bit faster, but I'll also show you at other levels as well later in the presentation. But what you see here is by month 6, not that crazy different, not that much more exciting. By the end of month 9, you see the 5% team hit silver, By month 12, so does the 3% team. So you see some differences here, but nothing quite as crazy as that hockey stick shape yet. So year 2, let's see this thing go. Month 18, you see the green team hit gold. That's pretty substantial. And then month 20, you see the gray team hit silver. But you start to see just that gap widen between the 5% roller team, the 3, and the 1. Let's go on to year 3. At this point, the 3% team has hit gold, while the 5% team has platinum. And then in diamond in month 34, the gray team is still at silver. And then lastly, year 4, so 48 months in, you see the 5% team hit Royal Crown Diamond, whereas the blue team is still at platinum, creeping up on diamond though, and the gray team is still at silver, not quite at gold. So this for me is the aha moment of when I fully bought in with my heart and soul into why this is truly the greatest business model in the world. Just the fact this exponential growth. And so it's pretty remarkable. And again, the only difference is here is that difference between a 5, a 3, and a 1% enroller rate. All the other metrics were the same. So that, and obviously, the longer you do this, the more it expands. If I wanted to go 8 years out, it'd be probably OGV in the 100 million range or something crazy like that, because it expands, or it's truly just exponential growth. So now let's look at this at different ranks. So same things, right? 5%, 3%, 1%. Every other metric is the same, but at different ranks. So the x-axis, again, is months. And you can see here, so you can look at your rank, say you're a star, you want to hit Royal Crown Diamond. Well, if you hit that 5% mark and maintain it for those months, as well as the other 40% ER rate, 140 average order volume, you're going to see yourself hit it in a little less than 5 years. Whereas if it's the 3% rate, it looks like it's around 82 months or so. And then the 1% rate, you're looking at 190 months, so it's 18 years or something like that. So you can see just the huge difference there, which it's so I like this because you can find where you're at, what your rank is, and how long to hit that Royal Crown Diamond mark. So this is probably something we should talk about more within our team, but it is it's something that's kept us motivated throughout this process and really just helped us focus on this power of 5%. We've taken this metric now, and we have a high five club where everyone that hits that rank gets a certain recognition for it. We also do giveaways and incentives for each different level. Obviously, the higher rank you are, the bigger the incentive is, because it's harder to do. It's a star can maybe do it on their own just by enrolling one person. You might hit that 5% mark, but for a gold that has a team of 800 people, it's harder. So but again, it's pretty exciting. So when I first found this out, I started kind of again using my background in data and analytics and looking at our teams, our leaders, businesses really across those 3 numbers, right? ER percent, percent enrollers, most importantly, then average order volume. And we would take that, and I would sit down and kind of build this 12 slide presentation out and show them what's where the business is going well, and maybe some areas with that they could improve upon. But what I loved most about these conversations I had was what it did for me. I got insights into this business that I otherwise would have never had. And so, I've enrolled a few people, right? Nothing crazy, but this is where I feel I truly got a pulse on our Young Living business and have even more respect and appreciation than ever before. So what did I learn? So I say 5, it's truly 6. This is me horseshoeing in my number 5. But here's what I learned. 1, first and foremost, the most important thing, the buddy system. People that have really fast growth, especially out the gate, right, day one, that just seem to climb rank, and all of a sudden before you know it, their executive calling you asking how to hit silver. I mean, these are the people we want in the business, right? What did they do? And it feels like 9 times out of 10, again, this actually, I don't know what the specific is there, what the number is, but it feels like 9 times out of 10, they had a close personal friend that they knew prior to Young Living join their team. And those two run together, and they experience that growth together. I liken this to starting a new gym routine. If you've ever tried to truly start a new workout regimen on your own, it's so hard to do. But if you have a friend that says, I'm going to be there at 5 a.m. at the gym, and I'm not starting until you get there, crap, I'm accountable, I'm in. But then also you can share the highs, the victories, you share the lows. It's a huge deal. I would also kind of tag into this buddy system, kind of some spousal support. when they go home, are they facing more arrows, or do they have someone that's kind of got their back when they're in the corner? So that again is just a huge piece to what we see for fast growth out the gate. Essential rewards. So something that we're very passionate about, again, because without this metric, it's a sales job, not a recurrent income job that allows us to sip Mai Tais on the beach, or in my case, margaritas. So with ER though, it is, what I've found is that people that include essential rewards in the conversation when their member is buying a starter kit, their ER rate is in the 60s. Whereas those that kind of break that up into two conversations, like conversation one, let's get the kit, and I'll come back later and we'll talk about essential rewards. Theirs is in the 30s. I wish I had some great revealing why. I think it's just because it's two different sales cycles, right? Now you have to make two sales instead of one. But that's again just something that we learned in this process. Or number 3, personally enrolling. We have some really great leaders on our team, and one of the things that we've seen some folks kind of stumble into is stopping personally enrolling. And what it seems like wherever somebody stops personally enrolling at is where their team stops growing. So I tell people, if you're ready to sit at silver, and you want to go to management mode, then you don't have to personally enroll, sure. But if you want to continue growing, it's just a must. And you'd think it wouldn't matter because, hey, say we have a team of 10,000 people, we want to get to Crown Diamond or whatever. Like, what's me enrolling? Well, I think it sets the pace. I think you see it come through in how you talk to people and how you relate to people. But as a leader, you set the pace for the team. And so when they look to you and it's not happening, they feel like maybe they don't have to, right? So it's kind of like, set that example as to like what is taking you to get there, not necessarily just to stay there. Again, easy for me to say, just look at the numbers and having conversations. Number 4, then this goes hand in hand. This is kind of leading by example. I've seen, one of our mantras is enroll people bigger than you. So by that I mean, I think it was Jack Walsh had a saying that if I hire people bigger than me, I will have a company of giants. So we want to enroll people bigger than us, people that that we jokingly call on our chicken list, the people that we're intimidated to talk to because they influence us, we don't influence them. So how do we bring these people with influence, not necessarily influencers, like not social media, but like how do we bring people with influence that are successful entrepreneurs into this business? And so that is, a lot of times you're intimidated to talk to that person that runs the coffee shop because they're already so busy. But we found that some of the busiest people make some of the most successful people in Young Living. But when I talk about leading by example, that's part of it. But the other part would be, how do you talk to your team, right? Gripes go up, not down. And so if you have a negative situation and you complain about it to your team, you kind of foster this culture of negativity and pessimism versus optimism and growth and excitement and happiness and positivity. I would say that's probably one of the biggest cultural things we focus on is having a culture of positive people that know how to take things in stride, because nothing's perfect, right? Like we make mistakes. I'm sure corporate's made some mistakes. Like the person that we're enrolling made some mistakes. So like, let's give some grace and try and lead by example and show how we kind of just shrug that off. And then also I would say like, another part of this would be with leading by example. If somebody asks you for something, are you overly catering to them? Are you like giving them their sign up link? Or are you teaching them how to do it so they can then teach their team how to do it? So a huge part of this is just how, being duplicatable. Number 5, and this is a super hard one for my wife. She has a background in art. So the idea of reusing content was always something that I think just gave her just the chills. She hated it. But in this business, you can't be all things to all people. And you can't be everywhere without leveraging your team's resources. So if your team has graphics built and you're debating building your own, just don't. I mean, unless they're going to be substantially different in message or to a different market. Because you have these great resources at your fingertips, use them. Focus on where you can differentiate yourself. Whatever makes you, amp that up. Let's not try and do all areas of the business. Let's leverage this team model and use the things that we can. So the good rule of thumb we have is when branding yourself and really people, use your own photos and your own voice alongside these graphics. So in between, for just simplicity, let's talk social media. If you're going to do these Instagram stories and your team built you out a few different slides, let's talk between each one. Let's tell your personal story and make it your own. And then lastly, I put in here, and don't start your own Facebook group until you hit platinum, unless you're a really, really high enroller. There's magic in being part of like a Facebook group that has a lot of activity versus kind of a wasteland where you just feel the pressure of always putting content out there. So I try and encourage our folks or just to pause until they hit that platinum level, unless they're a really high enroller and they have a lot of influence with their followers and their followers are looking for them. Leverage those resources that are above you. Lastly, spouse accounts. This can be kind of a controversial topic, but so I am a fan of them. I think they're great. First and foremost, they're great when used properly. When we have somebody that's a high enroller, that's a gold, and they want to create a spouse account, I could not applaud more. That's a great way to use it. But when we have a new senior star, even more than that, we have a star building a spouse account. Sometimes the challenge we see with that is now they're building two businesses. They're building a business for themselves still. They're also building their spouse's account. So instead of having another person there to help you, pull and push and do all the things, you're building that business now. And so it's double on your shoulders. There's no momentum to capture from that. And so that's why I kind of try and advise that, like, we try and not discourage, but ask our, it's maybe get two solid legs going before you consider adding a spouse. That's our advice. Again, nothing that you have to follow there. And to close out here, this is one of my favorite sayings. Entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so you can spend the rest of your life like others can't. I think this is powerful because there's an acronym I'm going to borrow from a friend. He calls it FOPO. Fear of other people's opinions. It's a crusher. Like, let's not let that slow us down. And in this business, it can be a challenge, right? When your friends and family, people you trust and love, look at this in a negative light. But just know that there's a light to the end of this tunnel. The power of 5% is that if you hustle for 4 or 5 years and truly duplicate yourself, then I promise you, those people that were hating early on, they will come back asking to join your team. It's actually some of our best builders now. Kind of laughed in our face early on, and they came after 2 years back and said, hey, we want in. We see the magic now. And we welcome them back, and now they're great builders for us. So it's funny that some of that stuff comes full circle. I hope you guys found this useful. If there's anything I can ever help with, let me know. Again, my name is Brandon Garvin, and thank you guys for your time today.